Glasgow, once a thriving industrial powerhouse, now carries a sobering reputation. A city where life expectancy is shockingly low, where health inequalities are stark, and where poverty, trauma and social deprivation intertwine to create a vicious cycle that claims lives too soon. This phenomenon, the Glasgow Effect, has puzzled researchers for decades. Why does Glasgow suffer from disproportionately worse health outcomes than cities with similar levels of poverty like Manchester and Liverpool? Why does a person in some parts of Glasgow live 15 years less than someone in a welfare neighbourhood just miles away? At the heart of this crisis is poverty-related trauma, the enduring physiological and psychological impact of living with constant adversity. It's felt in the homes of families struggling to make ends meet, and in the communities grappling with addiction, in high-rises where loneliness isolates residents from meaningful social contact, and on the streets where violence once dictated survival. This trauma is not simply an unfortunate reality, it's a legacy passed from one generation to the next, shaping lives before they even begin. But not all is lost. Hope lies in breaking the cycle. Innovative solutions that are grounded in community, nature and lived experience are proving that change is possible. Natural Wellbeing Scotland is one such initiative, a pioneering charity that taps into nature-based, holistic and trauma-informed approaches to help individuals reclaim their health, their confidence and their future. When people think of health disparities, they often assume the cause is economic. Poor areas have worse health because of limited access to food, housing and healthcare, and while this is true, Glasgow's crisis goes beyond economic poverty. In recent years, Glasgow's had 30% more premature deaths than equally deprived cities like Liverpool and Manchester. Glasgow's also had the lowest life expectancy in Western Europe, and its public health challenges like heart disease, cancer, diabetes and addiction and mental health illness outstrip those in comparable UK regions. And even amongst the wealthiest 10% in Glaswegians, life expectancy is still lower than in similar income groups elsewhere. So, what makes Glasgow different? The city's 20th century housing policies uprooted communities, pushing residents into poorly planned high-rise estates with little infrastructure for jobs, services or social cohesion. These areas became pockets of deep deprivation, breaking down traditional support networks that people had. Glasgow's shipbuilding, steel and manufacturing industries collapsed, leaving behind generations of joblessness. Unlike Liverpool or Manchester, where economic renewal took hold more successfully, Glasgow remains stuck in cycles of deprivation. Glasgow has some of the highest rates of alcoholism and drug-related deaths in Europe, with addiction often used as a response to trauma, pain and hopelessness. Roughly half of the city's excess deaths for those under the age of 65 are linked to alcohol or drugs. Chronic stress, depression, anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder are widespread. A lack of hope, combined with isolation and economic hardship, means people feel powerless to change their circumstances. UK-wide austerity policies disproportionately affected the poorest Glaswegians, leading to a reduction in community programmes, mental health support and addiction and recovery services, obviously worsening the situation. Glasgow's health crisis is not just about poverty, it's about poverty plus trauma. The environment people grow up in, the levels of stress they endure daily and the limited opportunities for escape all contribute to the city's shocking health outcomes. Poverty is not just about a lack of money, it is about the emotional and psychological scars left behind by living in survival mode. The impact of poverty-related trauma is lifelong and generational. Children growing up in financial insecurity experience toxic stress, chronic activation of the body's stress response system. This affects brain development, leading to learning difficulties, emotional dysregulation, and long-term health problems. Glasgow has high rates of adverse childhood experiences, traumatic events in childhood such as neglect, domestic violence, addiction in the household, or losing a parent early to death. ACEs are strongly linked to addiction, poor mental health, chronic disease, and involvement in crime. Poverty reduces access to social networks, leisure activities, and safe spaces, and without these, loneliness sets in, increasing the risk of depression and anxiety. Many Glaswegians have turned to alcohol, drugs and gangs as coping mechanisms. The city was once the murder capital of Europe, with youth violence fuelled by economic despair. However, evidence-based interventions such as the Violence Reduction Unit have shown that providing alternative pathways reduces violence and crime. Chronic stress and trauma weaken the immune system and increase the risk of heart disease, obesity and autoimmune conditions. Glasgow's residents suffer from high rates of preventable disease, many linked to stress and poor nutrition. But here's the key: trauma is not destiny, it can be healed. People who receive the right support, particularly trauma-informed community-based care, can break free from the cycle. While traditional healthcare often treats symptoms, true healing requires addressing root causes. This is where Natural Wellbeing Scotland comes in. The charity focuses on 4 key pillars of healing: nature-based wellbeing. Scientific research confirms that spending time in nature lowers stress hormones, improves mood and enhances physical health. Natural Wellbeing Scotland organises outdoor retreats, forest walks and camping experiences, providing people with an escape from stressful environments. Green exercise like hiking, kayaking and cycling builds resilience, confidence and improves physical health. Programmes are designed and led by people who have lived through poverty, trauma and addiction. Our talking groups and peer mentoring create safe spaces for individuals to share their stories and support one another. And our outdoor therapy, walking and talking sessions encouraging healing through movement and conversation. Our programmes are structured to avoid re-traumatisation, which is a focus on safety, empowerment and self-expression. Mindfulness, breathwork and meditation help individuals regulate emotions and process past pain. The use of sweat lodges and reflective practices provide a spiritual component to healing. Activities such as trek talking trash, hiking whilst doing environmental cleanups create a sense of purpose and achievement. Our planned e-bike therapy sessions help people build confidence whilst engaging in physical activity. And by bringing people together, the charity combats isolation and it strengthens community connection. To ensure that the right people can receive support, eligibility criteria for Natural Wellbeing Scotland services may include individuals from low income or deprived areas, people in recovery from addiction or at risk of substance abuse, those with a history of trauma, poor mental health or social isolation, individuals struggling with unemployment and lack of opportunities, and anyone seeking holistic, non-medical alternatives to improve their well-being. Fundamentally, people that are struggling and are ready for positive change in their life. We believe that there is a new future for Glasgow, and we'd like to play a part in that. The Glasgow Effect and poverty-related trauma are not inevitable. They are the result of systems that can be changed and personal experiences that can be healed. Natural Wellbeing Scotland is proving that by reconnecting people with nature, with each other, and with their own potential, real transformation is possible. The cycle can be broken, lives can be changed, hope can be restored. Glasgow, once burdened by its past, can become a model for healing, resilience and renewal. This is the new narrative for Glasgow, one not defined by early death, but by rebirth and recovery.